Thank you so much indeed. Thank you so much. Okay, so hello everyone. I am Veturián. Okay, Veturián Arana. It's a difficult name to pronounce, so everyone calls me Vetu. Vetu. Vetu, and that's fine with me. Okay. All right. I am an expert in quantum thinking applied to everyday life. Okay. Now, the great thing about quantum thinking is that you can apply it regardless of your age, your profession, or even the knowledge that you may have. Okay, so let's say that quantum thinking is for everyone, absolutely for everyone. Okay, and what it does is it allows you to change your life because let's face it, if you do not do it yourself, nobody is going to do it for you. Okay? So, what we are going to learn here today is that we are not victims of fate, okay, but victims of our thoughts. You see, you're an extraordinary human being. And when you understand this, you can begin to live an extraordinary life. That's the whole idea, okay? Look, the way I see it is that our view of the world is very, very mechanical. And this is due to the fact of an English scientist from the 17th century named Isaac Newton. Okay, so Isaac Newton established a set of laws that explain our world, but in a mechanical way. Okay, now with the birth of quantum physics, we have expanded our view of the world. And now we know that at a certain level, there are a completely different set of laws. And these different laws are absolutely amazing, okay? And the good thing is that you don't have to learn quantum physics. All you need to know is how to apply it, okay? And I have been applying quantum thinking to my personal life and to my professional life, and let me tell you, I couldn't be any happier. Really, that's the truth. Okay, my life changed the moment I knew that everything was possible, and that's one of the things that quantum thinking allows you to think in a way. The phrase that we use to explain the way we think is "I know no limits." I know no limits, and that's really, really beautiful. I even created a therapy that is changing the world of natural medicine to an extent that I couldn't believe a few years ago when I started this path. There is many, many things that have happened in my life, and they still happen every single day, which are, I don't know, maybe what we used to call a miracle before, but now we are starting to understand why these miracles are happening, and this is thanks to quantum thinking. Okay, but now, how can you apply the principles of quantum thinking to your own life? That's the important thing. Okay, and it's very easy. Look, scientists have already shown that absolutely everything in the whole universe is connected. This is a very important thing, okay? Listen to this carefully, because it's what I call the first great principle to change your life, and that is to understand that absolutely everything is connected, okay? That's one principle. Now, the second great principle that I like to explain is that science has also shown us that we are co-creators of our reality, okay? And what does this mean? What does it mean that we are co-creators? Well, it means that we are not victims of fate. We, to a great extent, create our life. What makes us believe that we are victims are the programs that our environment, and when I say environment, I mean mom, dad, the whole family, the school, religion, newspapers, TV, radio, all that is the environment. and the environment has installed programs in our unconscious mind, okay? And these programs is what we call limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs. We all have them. For example, I have come into this world to suffer. Okay, I am worthless. Nobody loves me. I am useless. I cannot do this. I cannot do that. The world is a dangerous place. I do not deserve. I don't know. I do not deserve love. I do not deserve money. Whatever, you know. I'm not able. I feel abandoned. I will never get anywhere. These are only programs, and these programs is what we have in our subconscious mind, and these are the programs that we have downloaded from our environment between the age of, say, the strong bit is between the age of 2 and 7. You also get programs that are related to your family tree, but the important ones are from the age to 2 to 7, okay? So, okay, remember, first great principle, everything is connected in the whole of the universe. The second great principle, we are co-creators of our reality. We are not passive victims. That's very important, okay? Now, the third great principle, okay, is that what you project outwards comes back to you. It's like an echo in a cave, okay? Everything that you emit, that you project outwards, comes back to you. This is very, very important. So, these 3 principles that I'm giving you are basically what you need to know to begin and project what you are, which is an extraordinary human being. You have to understand, you have to realize, you have to accept the idea that you are an extraordinary human being. Extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary, okay? So, now, let's put these 3 great principles to work, okay? And this is where you should pay close attention. And most importantly, do not judge. Just listen. Do not judge what I'm going to say. Just listen and then put it into practice. Put into practice what I'm going to tell you and wait and see the results. Okay? So let's remember once more the 3 principles, because it's very important. The first great principle, everything is connected. The second, I am a co-creator of my reality. And the third one is what I emit, what I project out, returns back to me. Okay? So, now, let's condense these 3 principles to form a single phrase. And maybe you want to write this down, because it's a good phrase to write down and to read it back as many times as you possibly can. Okay? And this phrase is, I know that everything is connected, that I am a co-creator of my reality, and that what I project out returns back to me. That's the phrase, okay? Write it down if you're able to do it now. I know that everything is connected, that I am a co-creator of my reality, and that which I project out returns back to me, okay? Now, we are going to put this phrase into practical use. Now, from the quantum perspective, we know that we are atoms. Atoms emerging and disappearing in the sea of what we call the matrix, okay? So we are just like millions and billions, many billions of little atoms vibrating. And these atoms are emerging from this sea, this matrix, and they are disappearing, okay? And we arise and disappear from the matrix at such a speed that it decides our perception. And we believe that we are seeing solid figures, solid objects, but it's not that, okay? We are being born, and let's say born and unborn, okay? from the same source, from this matrix, from the same source from which money, health, love, happiness, gratitude, flowers, cats, and everything else is born and unborn. And it is my consciousness that shapes that energy. So this is quite important. You are not something apart, something separated from all these things that we mentioned: cats, flowers, perfumes, your car, whatever. You are being born every single second from this energy, this matrix, where everything else is also being created and let's say uncreated and created and uncreated at the same time that you. This is very important to understand, that you are part of the whole thing. This is quite important, okay? So, I am born and unborn constantly, okay, from the matrix, just like you. And this means that we are connected because we belong to the same matrix. We are also connected to every animal, every plant, every stone, every insect that you can imagine. It does not matter if it's, let's say, an ocean wave or a tropical storm, whether it's sand in the desert or snow in the mountains, we all come from the same source. See? So, now we know that we are part of the whole and that there is no separation. But how does this concept help you to change your life? That's the question, right? So let's get into that question. Look, every thought, every emotion that you have generates waves of vibration. And these waves of vibration carry that information. And those waves are coming out of you. They never get trapped in your head or in your heart. Everything that you think, that you feel, every emotion, every thought, leaves your body, as it were, okay, leaves your body in these waves of information, and they travel. These waves of information emanate from you, okay, and you spread them outside of you. Now, this means that they come out of your brain or come out of your heart and are imprinted on this matrix that we're talking about. Now, since your partner, your boss, and all your friends are intrinsic part of the matrix, what you feel and what you think is known to them at a certain level. Now, imagine how important this is. If you criticize your boss in your mind, if you think bad about, let's say, your partner or your friends, even the neighbor, anyone, that information reaches them and is registered by their unconscious mind, causing them to act or respond to you in one way or another. Do you see what I mean? Therefore, the first practical lesson to have an extraordinary life is to control your thoughts and your emotions. If you send a bad vibration towards your boss will return a bad vibration towards you. This is a law. So how can I modify the behavior, and how can I modify the reactions of others towards me? Well, it's very easy. Controlling what I think. Changing criticism and judgment for appreciation, for gratitude and love. Is that easy? Now you say, wait a minute, Vetu, wait a minute. My boss is a jerk. How can I send him thoughts of love? Exactly. That is the key to have an extraordinary life, you see. Send your boss vibrations of love and you will see the results. That's the whole idea. And mind you, it's not just a matter of thoughts and emotions. We can also include acts, because acts are the expressions of our thoughts. If you treat, let's say, if you treat a person badly, if you treat an animal badly, if you treat nature badly, if you lie, if you judge others, if you, I don't know, if you hit the car door, if you break a tree branch, if you pollute water, if you cheat, if you attack people by thought or by word, if you disrespect your own body, if you steal from your clients, all that is printed in the matrix. That is, you are hurting the very essence of which you emanate. You see? And therefore, all that I have said, it's so, in a way it's difficult to understand, but in a way it's very, very, very simple. Everything that comes out of you, okay, becomes your life. Everything that you project as thoughts and emotions and acts becomes your life. So, you want to have an extraordinary life, you have to change the way you project all this thinking and all these emotions and all this acting, okay? Remember, every thought, emotion, and action, it's creating your reality. Now, it's very easy. Look, imagine that you have planted some carrots and some potatoes, some tomatoes, okay, in a garden, okay? And every day you water your garden with dirty water. If you put toxins on the earth and trample it, okay, with hate and resentment, the carrots, the potatoes, the lettuce, the tomatoes will turn out horrible. And if that is what your body feeds on, then you will have health problems. Well, this is exactly the same example. If you water your garden with clean water and with love, food will be healthy and you will be healthy. Now, you have to see the whole world as a garden. If you put toxins in this huge garden, then you become ill. Emotionally, physically, mentally, but you will become ill. You have to water this garden of the universe with clean water, which means clean thoughts, clean emotions, and clean acts, okay? Now, another thing is that scientists have been able to study how our way of thinking affects our DNA. You see, faced with positive emotions of love, of gratitude, trust, compassion, they have seen how the DNA strands lengthen, and then vice versa, how negative thoughts shorten the strands of this DNA, which affect your life deeply. Okay, so the bottom line is that our thoughts affect our reality. Now, let's talk a little bit about those beliefs. As I mentioned before, from the age of 2 to 7 years, okay, more or less, you are lowering all the necessary programs for survival. It's as simple as that. And that means listening in a hypnotical state, because when you're between 2 and 7 years old, you are in a pre-hypnotic state. You're listening to the environment, which is what I mentioned, your mom, your dad, your family, school, religion, the whole thing, okay? And what they say about life and what they say about you is what you will accept as true, okay? Because when you are born, you're just like a computer, but it's a computer without any programs. So now you need to know who you are. You need to know, how does dad react to money? How does mom react to this? How does my environment react to so many things? I need to learn. I need to survive. So I'm watching and I'm downloading all this information, okay? And that information is what you will use to react automatically to different things in life, okay? Now, how do you know what programs you have inside you, okay? This is very easy because You may have lots of programs that will give you, say, for example, success in business, in abundance, or you can have programs of failure, sadness, and things like that. So to pinpoint which are the programs that you have, all you have to do is look back to your life and just observe your life. Okay, you might want to sit down and write down different aspects of your existence. No, you may want to write down, for example, relationships. No, what your relations with the world as general, ease of generating money, how professional, how successful you are professionally, intelligence to study new things, how's your social life, how's your sex life, how's your spirituality, what is your relationship with nature, your relationship with animals, how happy are you, how healthy, what's all these aspects of your life. And now, what you need to do, once you have a long list of the things that come to your mind, it's give them a score from 1 to 0, being 1 terrible and 10 I have a great life in this aspect, because our life is made up of lots of different little things. Okay, so you rate your life, and that will give you a visual thing of which bits of your life are scoring really low and which ones are scoring high. Okay, so those things that come into your life with great difficulty, with tremendous effort, or simply don't arrive. Let's say, for example, money. Okay, there's people that have great difficulty in obtaining abundance, and they have tremendous difficulty in maintaining what they have, or simply, they work all the hours of the day and they still don't make that money that they need to make. Okay, so what's happening here? If you're an extraordinary person, why this aspect of your life is so bad? It's very easy, because you have programs there that are controlling your abundance. And if you look at things in your life that you're very, very good, I don't know, speaking in public or whatever, then you have a program that allows you to do that. Are the programs inside you, inside this computer, are the ones that allow you to navigate through life. Okay, so say, for example, you're a child between the age of 2 and 7, and you will hear things like, you will never make it, you are stupid, or you hear your father saying, oh, life is hard, or your mother saying, we have come to this life to suffer, or people saying to you, who do you think you are? Or you hear phrases like, God is going to punish you, or money does not grow on trees. We are a poor family and we have to accept it. I don't know, stop dreaming and put your feet on the ground. Or they give you advice and they say you have to save money for the future. Okay, why don't you learn things like your brother? He's better than you at everything, and so many more. I mean, there are thousands of phrases. These are what make up these terrible programs. And scientists say that more than 70% of all the programming that we have, it's negative. And the scientists are telling us that between 95 and 97% of your daily life is controlled by your unconscious mind. That means that we have very, very little control over our day unless we get into a conscious mind. When you are conscious of something, you are choosing your reaction towards whatever it is. But if you are not in the present, in the now, with consciousness, then you are reacting out of these automatic programs, okay? And the funny thing is that they are not really you, in the sense that these programs come from other people. So they are the ideas of other people that you have accepted as yours. And that is terrible. This environment that I'm talking about, it's like an architect. And those beliefs that I'm talking about are like a blueprint. And therefore, your life is the house, okay, resulting from those blueprints, okay? So now you're going to ask me, okay, now I know that from the age of 2 to 7, I have been programmed, and I have all these programs, and you mentioned a few, and I resonated with some of them because I heard them when I was a child. What do I do now? Okay? Well, on this score that we did, go and choose the lower one and start with the belief that makes you suffer the most. Okay? It can be lack of money, or I don't know, always being with abusive partners, or being unhealthy, whatever. Okay? Now you have realized that you have been programmed. Fine. Now it's the time to deprogram yourself and then reprogram yourself again, but correctly. Okay? And now, lots of people can do this on their own. But let's say most people will, at the beginning, need help, therapeutic help from any energy technique. It doesn't matter which one, okay? But you can do it on your own. The important thing is to recognize that the problem that you have is not outside you. The problem is not my boss is a jerk. My country is a disaster. My partner hates me. Okay? The problem is inside you. And seeing that, then the idea is that you realize that you're making automatic decisions based on these programs, and that these programs are managing your life. And just to take conscience of that, just to take conscience of, say, for example, my program is abusive partners. Okay, now that's my program. I must have a program because this thing keeps happening to me all the time. Now I have conscience of this. Sometimes just taking conscience of a problem solves part of the problem, okay? It's not something that just by taking conscience today, the problem will be solved. It takes a little bit of work, of effort. Let's say, for example, that you have a program that every time you talk about money, about rich people, okay, you say rich people are thieves, okay, because you've heard things at home when you were a child, whatever. And now what you have to do is stop. And once you have said the phrase, rich people are thieves, you stop there. And you say to yourself, do I really think that all the rich people are thieves? Where did I hear that? Did I hear it at home? Did I hear it on television or at school? And then you are taking an action. The action is first knowing that you have programs. The second bit is highlighting which are the worst programs that you have. Being conscious of these programs, so whenever you answer to a situation, to a person, or you give an opinion or judgment or criticism, you know that it's coming from this program. Then look at the program and say, is this really what I think? Is this really what I think about money or gay people or politics or anything? Is this really my thinking? Or is something that I have just absorbed and adopted from my environment? Very likely it's from my environment. Fantastic. So now I'm going to sit down and think, okay, I'm going to create my very own thinking. And because I know that what I think is going to come out of me and is going to reflect back to me, before I criticize or I give any sort of judgment about anything, how about if I try to be more soft, more, send love, send something that is not judgment and not criticism. And then let's just see what the universe brings me back, you see? Because when you have positive thinking, positive thoughts, the chemicals in your brain are completely different from the chemicals that you produce when you have negative thoughts. And every single chemical that you produce in your brain will go into your bloodstream, and it's going to go to every single cell of your body. So once again, are we watering our garden with clean water, clean chemicals of love and gratitude, or are we putting toxins into our blood, into our cells, into our body? Okay? So let's get back to the idea of how we can create an extraordinary life. Very quickly. 1, everything is connected. I am responsible for understanding that every action, every thought, every emotion that I emit affect the people I deal with. What should I do? Think, feel, and act always from love. 2nd, I am not a victim of life. I am a co-creator of my reality. What should I do? Analyze my beliefs, see where I adopted them from, stop using them and change them for a new way of thinking. And 3, everything I emit out comes back to me. What should I do? Project thoughts of love and gratitude and do sweet actions to everything and everyone, because that is going to come back to me. Finally, I will remind you that you are consciousness expressing itself, that our consciousness is the architect of our life. Consciousness is pure creation. Consciousness creates everything that you see. If I say I am fantastic, I generate a reality. If I say I am useless, I generate another reality. Okay? So, have an extraordinary life. And if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Absolutely. We have questions for you, Veturián. And first of all, thank you. Thank you for sharing with us this knowledge. It can be hard to accept that we are creating the life that we're living, definitely. But sometimes that's not the best life. So how do we process the fact that whatever we're seeing around us is being created by us? It's like, how do we accept the responsibility of saying, you know what, can't blame it on anybody else, it's you? It can be hard to accept that we are creating the life that we're living, definitely. But sometimes that's not the best life. So how do we process the fact that whatever we're seeing around us is being created by us? It's like, how do we accept the responsibility of saying, you know what, can't blame it on anybody else, it's you?
Okay, that's an excellent question. And the answer to that question, it's within the question. Because you said, how do we accept our responsibility? And that is the whole idea. The whole idea is to accept responsibility. As long as you think that the problems come from the outside world into you, and as long as you keep thinking that the answer to all your problems are in the outside world, then you will never advance in the consciousness road. Okay? You need to think. You need to understand that every single thing comes from within you. You are like a projector in a cinema. You are always with your mind projecting a reality into this screen. And what you see in the world is what you are projecting. You are creating this. So instead of just trying to accept things that you have never heard before and they are difficult, my proposition is always, why don't you try it? It's free. You don't have to take any pills. You don't have to, it's not painful. Just try to send, thoughts of love outside and wait to see the results. When the results come back, then you will say, well, I don't understand how this is working, but it is working. I have a mobile phone and I don't know how it works, but it does work. So I use it. So this is the same. Bills you have.
I really enjoy the concept of knowing I am the creator of everything I see. I enjoy it and I find it empowering, actually, knowing that I'm not a victim of my surroundings. Although I can say that I have had a very fair life. I've never encountered, dangerous situations or situations that may want me, that could make me feel like a victim. Now, there is something that bothers me a lot, and it's the fact that, of course, we are co-creating, and definitely there is a planet that is suffering. There is a lot of things in the world that doesn't make much sense that we are creating set situations. Like, for example, the way we consume voraciously all the planet's resources, the way that we are exhausting our natural spaces. What do you think is the purpose of us going through that route? There's a lot of things in the world that doesn't make much sense that we are creating set situations. Like, for example, the way we consume voraciously all the planet's resources, the way that we are exhausting our natural spaces. What do you think is the purpose of us going through that route?
Well, I was I was waiting to hear the whole of your answer because there's a delay, and I was hearing myself at the same time that I was hearing you, so I didn't really catch up the information. But I think what you're worried about the planet and the whole situation and all these things. It's very well. It's not so difficult to understand once you realize you realize that we live in a dual world. Okay, it's yin and yang, it's man and woman, it's cold and it's hot, it's tall and it's small. Every single thing that you can see in this universe is made of duality, of one and zeros, yes and no. It's all duality. So for duality to work, you must have both sides of the coin all the time. And sometimes one side of the coin shows up and everything seems to be terrible. And, we have all these problems, health problems and these problems and economical problems and whatever. And then it just turns around. And then you have the other side of the coin. Sometimes in one part of the world, you have one side of the coin, and in another, you have the other side of the coin. The whole thing is to understand that what we believe to be a reality is nothing but a dream. And we are dreaming the whole thing, the whole world, the whole situation. We are dreaming it. And this means that our ego is in control. And ego will always look for separation from the divinity. So it will always try to find problems that you can suffer, and that will make you stand in one side or in the other side of any discussion, any battle, any idea, any whatever. That's the whole idea of the ego. But one day, you will go back to unity, to the one. And when you get back to the one, when you wake up from this dream, which is what we call enlightenment, when you wake up from this dream, then you will realize that all these terrible, absolutely horrible situations in the world were nothing but a nightmare that you were dreaming. Back to unity, to the one.
Well, thank you for staying with us, and thank you for your patience while we sorted out a little bit of a technical difficulty. We are with Veturián Arana. We're asking a couple questions after the very, very nutritious content that he has given us today. And the next question is the following. We spend time with certain people and we are co-creating, definitely. I wanted to know from your perspective, if we should maybe drift ourselves apart from the people that are not vibrating as us, that are not committed to growing, or if it's easier to educate them. I do these questions because I feel that sometimes the path of growth and being our better selves can be a lonely path. So how do you approach that? If we should maybe drift ourselves apart from the people that are not vibrating as us, that are not committed to growing, or if it's easier to educate them. I do these questions because I feel that sometimes the path of growth and being our better selves can be a lonely path. So how do you approach that?
Well, it's never a lonely path, you see, because every single thing in the whole of the universe is vibrating all the time. And the moment you change, say for example, the moment you change your vibration, this will make some people to walk away from you. They will not feel comfortable with your new vibration, but there is so many other people around you vibrating to that new level, and you will attract them. So there is never emptiness in the universe. There's always vibrations attracting or rejecting each other. The moment you raise and raise and raise, and the higher you go with your vibration, the how can I say, not the better people, because I will be judging, but the more relaxed your life is going to be around people. Okay. Now, the important thing is to realize that in order to grow spiritually, you need to be in touch with people, because people are the ones who will present you with the situations where you need to apply forgiveness. If you go to the top of a mountain and you get into a cave and you start meditating 30 years on your own, oh, it's going to be very relaxing, but it's not advancing, because you will not have any problems. And the idea is to have problems in order to forgive and to give love to everyone, basically.
Well, thank you again. We have reached the end of our conversation, and I want to ask you, what are your closing thoughts? What do you want to leave us with today?
It's not advancing, because you will not have any problems. And the idea is to have problems in order to forgive and to give love to everyone, basically.
Well, thank you again. We have reached the end of our conversation, and I want to ask you, what are your closing thoughts? What do you want to leave us with today?
What do I want to leave you with today? Okay. Hope. Basically, it does not matter what the dream is presenting you. The reality, which is the oneness, it's so beautiful and so amazing that at the end of the dream, the moment you wake up, you are going to laugh so hard that you will not believe it. So hope.
Thank you again. It's been a great pleasure sharing this space, this time with you. And I hope that you join us again. Thank you for doing this in English. We normally do this content in Spanish. You've been with us more than a couple times. And it's been a great pleasure to join you in this adventure crossing to another language. And to the people that was with us today, thank you. Thank you for being with us. We are wishing you a very good day or good night at any time that you're watching us, and we will see you again very soon in another Mindalia live streaming. Goodbye.